Welcome everyone to today's admin meeting. We'll get this rolling here. Is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? Well, I have one. I just put in the chat. If you did not catch it, our passenger rail efforts in Montana made the CBS Evening News over the weekend, so check that out at your leisure. Anything else? And is Cindy Kennedy out there?
I am.
Okay, excellent.
Can you see me?
I missed you there. So you have a couple items related to Buena Vista. So would you like to talk to us about both of those? And without objection, we will vote on those together.
Sure, I can do that. So the first item is a request for the board to approve the chair to sign a designation of environmental certifying official and a resolution for designating the environmental certifying official. So it's two documents, and basically it's a due diligence item for the county to authorize me to complete the environmental review for the Buena Vista project. And that'll go to the Montana Department of Commerce. So 2 signatures on that document. And then the next item is, I believe Deb Bell is on the call too. We went through the procurement process of procuring an engineering firm to create or to prepare the design of the project for Buena Vista, and to also prepare bid documents and cost estimates and all that fun stuff. And so we went through that procurement process. We had 4 engineering firms respond to us, and we had 4 folks review those proposals and score them, and the winning engineering firm was Great West Engineering, which was the firm that we worked with phase 1 as well. And so before we can officially start the negotiation of a contract, we wanted the Board of County Commissioners to authorize us to proceed with that and make sure that there are no objections to us proceeding with working with Great West Engineering. I think that about covers it. Are there any questions about either one of those items?
Nope. Got some bad feedback. If folks could mute themselves if they are not speaking, that would be great. The only question I have, and maybe this would be more directed towards Shane, or I don't know if Chris is on the line out there, but the list that we put together for the legislature within the last week related to the ask for infrastructure projects that could be funded from the Rescue Act. Did we have Buena Vista in there?
We did.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Any opportunity that we could avail ourselves of just to pay for and get the doggone thing completed would be great.
Yes. That would be
some laughter emanating from the ether out there. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Juanita?
Nope, I don't either. And yep, no concerns about Great West. So I motion to approve the chair sign designation of environmental certifying official and resolution for designating the environmental certifying officer to allow Cindy Kennedy to serve as the designated environmental certifying officer for the Buena Vista wastewater system improvement project. And can I do them both?
Yes, let's do a double header, yes.
Okay, and then I also move to approve proceeding with negotiating a contract with Great West Engineering.
I will second that. Any further discussion or questions out there? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
And just real quickly, I have a correspondence item also about Buena Vista, so I will stay on until you get to that item.
Well, do you want to?
Yeah.
So, do we want to do it now?
Let's just talk
okay,
about it.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So back in January, which I'm embarrassed that it's taken this long to make this happen, but back in January, we were notified by Senator John Tester's office that he was able to secure $645,000 of Water Resource Development Act funding for the Buena Vista Phase 2 project. Before we had those funds, we were in the neighborhood of $600,000 shortage that the community was going to have to figure out how to fill that gap, and they were looking at loans, and that was just not going to be feasible for them because the cost would be so exorbitant. So this was very, very exciting that Senator Tester was able to secure these funds, and we want to thank him and invite him to come to Missoula when we start the project. So that's what that letter is for.
Great. Well, look forward to seeing that come into our inboxes, and we'll get that signed. Thanks, Cindy.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Any questions from the media on Buena Vista before Cindy leaves us? Okay, it's a big deal for that community out there. So thanks, Cindy. Moving on, you bet. Our next item is related to a possible offer on a piece of land for a gravel pit. So Dory, Eric, and Shane.
I don't know, Dory, did you want me to lead off on this, or did you want to?
Dory, are you out there? I guess it's you, Shane, or Dory. There you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm just laughing because I wish I had a dollar for each time I've heard over the past year, can you hear me now? So go ahead.
Hey, Dory, your mic is turned off again. I can't hear you.
Dory, are you there?
But can you hear me?
Okay. That's better. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, your mic's crapping out on you, Dory.
Shane, go ahead. I'll come back.
Oh, there we heard you that time. Now you're frozen.
Okay.
Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, so we have a 27-acre piece of property out by the Y, and maybe I can just bring an image of that property up. I actually have a couple. Start with this one. And this just kind of shows the existing quarry site and test holes. They'll give you a little bit of background information. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, can you make it a little bigger?
I will try, Juan. Is that helpful?
I got some glasses. We're all good.
All right, I'm gonna open up the other property information system too and zoom in on that one too. But this just is a kind of an overview of that site, and these are kind of all these circles are test holes that we've dug. There's an existing quarry here. Here you can see I-90 on the plan view here, and this is actually the corner on Pulp Mill Road. Old Highway 10 extends out here, and I can kind of give you a different perspective on this as well. Slide this over. Just to give you an idea of where this sits. So this is Highway 93 North going up towards Evero, I-90, and then this is Pulp Mill Road, also known as Secondary 474. So right here, as I zoom in on this corner, this is the 28 acre lot. What we would do is we're looking at mining probably around 10 to 15 acres, kind of this area, and maybe I'll zoom back into our PDF photo here that shows all these locations. So all these circles marked with green basically show like a location where we have good crushable gravel. The yellow are examples of where we might have material that we could crush, but it would also require some additional material be added. So, and then red is just clay. So there's a mix of clays and gravels out here, but we think plus or minus there's 450,000 cubic yards. We're estimating that the life of this, including the extension of the life of Miller Creek, we could probably get 20 years out of this quarry site. The benefit to the county essentially is that we don't have to purchase gravel from commercial sources and pay for the the additional cost of acquiring that material. We can crush it ourselves, and we can do it for probably a lot less than what a contractor would charge us to do. So talking to our road supervisors and others out here, and it sounds like in the past there had been times when they had to purchase gravel and it would cost them $300,000 to $400,000 a year. And so the acquisition of a piece of property for what we're proposing to offer is $350,000. So for the cost of 1 year of material to purchase, we would be able to buy this site and then bring our crusher here and crush, for a few weeks or something and get the material we need for the rest of the year. So I know, Eric, you're on. I don't know if you want to add anything else. That's kind of a rough and dirty explanation.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot more to add. I've spoken with a couple different consultants about the likelihood of being able to permit this site, and they were both very positive. It's a lot shorter and a lot cheaper process than I would have thought. So, the potential here is great, and it's a great location. So, yeah, it's just a great opportunity.
How old is that existing quarry?
I don't know. I don't think it's not active. They don't crush out of there. They're just taking pit run material. We've purchased material from this site for our work on Dayshaw Lane, so I don't know for sure how long it's been excavated.
Okay.
Two questions. One is how would this be funded if we're going to be paying for it out of this fiscal year's dollars? And then secondly, I'm assuming that it appraised for this amount, so we're not paying an exorbitant price.
I think
So can you hear me? This is Dory.
Yeah, either Dory or Andrew, if you wanted to field either of those, or yeah, go for it. We can hear you now, Dory.
Okay, it's my phone. So I'll just run through the offer real briefly. So it will cover a couple of those. Won't cover the financing, but as far as the appraisal, the offer, we would do the appraisal after the offer is accepted. So the property would have to appraise for the purchase price or less. So that would, if it comes back with a higher appraisal, then, we could either renegotiate or we would purchase it at the lower, at the price we're offering. So the appraisal comes afterwards. We have to pay for the appraisal, so we don't want to do that until we know we have a buy-sell. The other contingencies, of course, is the standard inspection. If there's, anything that turns up, which it doesn't sound like it will, but we have all the standard inspections and the permitting process. So if it doesn't permit for the gravel pit open cut mining, then the earnest money would come back and we wouldn't close on it. So we have those contingencies in there.
And Dory,
Andrew,
where did the $350,000 come from? Is that what they're asking, or what's the basis for our offer?
Right. So they're asking for $375,000. It's not listed, so that was the owner's. So I've been tracking properties that are for sale, and there's very few that you can find in this sort of area. That so that's what I've been tracking. The closest one is a little bit closer to Frenchtown, and it was $14,000 an acre. This one is further out. The other one had very preliminary subdivision work already done on it, so it has some benefits. So I discounted this about 12% from that offer. And in my research, it seems like 350 would be 12,962 an acre, which seems reasonable based on other properties for sale.
Okay. Andrew, were you wanting to chime in on the finance piece?
Yeah, I think financing, we probably have land sales money. Well, I know we have land sales money that would cover this this cost. We have the combined land sales accounts right now of about $647,000 in them. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay, I guess two other questions, not to dominate things here, but one would be, after the expected lifespan of this as a gravel pit, any thoughts on what this property could be repurposed for? And then secondly, the last time that we had discussed this, we had talked about doing some outreach with the adjoining property owners just to see how excited or not they are about a gravel pit next to them, since we know that is a topic that frequently comes up in these contexts. So whoever would like to take a stab at either of those.
Eric, do you want to talk on the outreach?
Yeah, we've been working on contacting those adjacent property owners. I think we're about 15 that are in the immediate area. I actually made contact with 8 of those, and no one has raised any concerns. A couple of them spoke on behalf of what their neighbors thought. Being neighbors for a lot of years, they kind of thought they were able to speak for them. So there doesn't seem to be any major concern. The most immediate property owner, they are out of town until sometime in the first week of April. So hopefully we'll hear from them soon. I did speak with their neighbor, who is their daughter-in-law, and spoke with her for a bit and gave my contact information. So I don't know if they'll be in touch with us before they get back, or if we'll have to wait and do it in person when they're here. But generally there is no concern with the idea of a gravel pit.
And how about thoughts once we fully utilize the pit for its gravel potential, what it could be repurposed for, if anything, then?
I think you can reclaim that, Dave, and it's 27, 28 acres. If we use 10 to 15, that still leaves quite a few acres untouched. And then, it's got some relief on it. And so if we just kind of flatten that down, I think you could just reclaim it and I would imagine could potentially have development on top of it.
So there's a good chance we could, 20 years, however far down the road, we could recoup this investment by way of resale for redevelopment.
Yeah. The other thing we talked about too, Dave, was, is this site big enough to actually put like a future public works facility on, instead of, right now we lease from the airport, and maybe that's a good future site for us to be at.
How far is it from the airport, or from your site right now?
Gosh, not very far, Juan. I'd bet you 4 miles, 5 miles, something like that. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're not too far from the Y where we're at, and this is just west of the Y, so it's right in the same neighborhood.
Yep, great.
Other questions, Juanita?
Nope. I have lost our screen. What's the? I'm gonna motion to approve this sale, but I don't have the correct language in front of me, so apologies. Let me see where I'm at.
Well, just if you could just move item 3, that's good enough.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, here we go. Request that the board. I motion to request that the board approve the offer to purchase 27 acres from Stanley Hendrickson for $350,000.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah, I think this seems like a prudent investment, especially how you've described it, Shane, in terms of how much we might spend on a typical year for gravel. makes a lot of sense over the long haul to do this. And and Andrew, it sounds like we have the funding wherewithal to do it. Any other discussion? Comments?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor? Aye. All right, we look forward to hearing how the next steps in the negotiation go.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. All right, next we have something brought to us by way of the sheriff's office. I don't know if we have do we have a sheriff's office representative on the line here who would like to speak to this?
Yeah, Dave, good morning, Rob Taylor.
Okay. Hi, Rob.
I'll be standing in for Sheriff McDermott and doing this on behalf of Captain Bill Burt, who is in the administrative division and managing this Forest Service agreement. So what this is, I'm seeking the chair's signature on this document. This is the annual operating and financial plan, which is a subordinate document to the 5-year recurring cooperative law enforcement agreement with the U.S. Forest Service. And what this does is allows us to bill up to $21,000 for those forest land patrols and other work that we do at the request of the Forest Service in the law enforcement arena on their properties in Missoula County. Additionally, just for information, this is also the instrument that allows us to bill through that overarching 5-year plan, which, by the way, was last signed on in 2018. So we're kind of mid-contract with that, or mid-plan with that. It allows us to bill back reimbursable expenses during wildland fire events and other events that the Forest Service might ask for our assistance on. So I'm just looking for the signature to keep it running year to year. Any questions?
Thanks, Rob.
This is just for a year, Rob, just until December, or do we have?
Yeah, correct. So what we do is we do a 5-year cooperative law enforcement agreement, and each year there under that umbrella, there's an annual operating plan and financial plan. So if any of the mileage fees that we can claim or any of those things update each year, then we get that in the annual plan.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Dave, did you have?
No, I have no questions. This is pretty standard that we do every year. So I think this is a great program.
I motion to approve cooperative law enforcement annual operating plan and financial plan between Missoula County and USDA Forest Service Lolo.
I will second.
And it
that.
actually, oh, sorry, and it covers everything. Yeah, okay. Sealy, Frenchtown. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion, comments from you, Rob, or anyone else?
The only thing is just to note that the sheriff has signed it. It has the signature, the chair's signature block, and then I need the original, or we need it back over here to send through the Forest Service, and then we'll bring the fully signed copy back to Annie for filing as kind of per usual, but I know it's a little unusual in the scheme of things.
So this actually requires a physical signature on the document?
I believe this one does. I'm not sure. I don't have all the details of whether or not they've gone with DocuSign yet, but we can certainly get it over to you and get it in your hands. I don't think there's a huge hurry on it, so whenever you can get to it.
We'll get it signed one way or another. Yeah, the Forest Service is a little old school at times, so we'll.
Yeah, I'll have Don work out the signature details with Annie if that's appropriate.
Sure, that's fine.
Thanks.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back to Eric Dixon or Shane. We have a request to authorize the chair to sign a retail sales agreement for a combination vacuum jetter truck. What could be more exciting than that? Eric.
Yeah, surprising what is exciting for us when we become adults. This is a piece of equipment that we at Public Works have been wanting and needing for years, and it's a piece of equipment that Jason Neese with the Lolo Water and Sewer District rents oftentimes in the year, and we can use it for cleaning sumps that goes to benefit our compliance with MS4 stormwater requirements. We can use it to flush culverts to provide good roadside drainage. We can use it to expose underground utilities during the work that we do, and of course Jason can use it for his sewer work with the district down there. So we had put this in our FY21 budget, and in August went out for bids. And when those came back in, we had one piece of equipment that was under budget, but it did not meet the specs, and the other two offers were over our projected budget. So we regrouped and worked with the vendors to go through the Sourcewell pricing option, and Titan Machinery did have a Sourcewell bid for this exact piece of equipment. And as a demo unit, it comes in at about $50,000 under our budget and meets the needs for both Public Works and for the Lolo Sewer and Water District. So we would recommend that this agreement be signed, and this piece of equipment could be here on the order of weeks once we're ready to move.
What is, Eric, what is the Sourcewell pricing option?
I'll defer to Shane on that one. He's been talking a lot to the Sourcewell folks, and I think could have a better description.
Yeah, and Dave, I see you jumped in. Did you want to add something, Dave?
Well, just that Sourcewell is a cooperative agreement. It's sort of a co-op, so it's a group of people that put out RFPs and get the right pricing, and then various local governments can kind of piggyback on that. It's kind of like when we piggyback on a state contract, except it's a private cooperative firm, and that is within county policy and state statute. We are allowed to do that, and it's often a good way to go.
Great. Thank you. Any questions, Juanita?
No, I'm really excited to make this happen. Does the city have one of these as well? Do we borrow it?
I think the city has multiple of these.
Okay.
If I remember right. I don't know, Eric, if you know.
They do, and they've in fact the past year helped us out a couple times by letting us borrow theirs to do the exact work that we need to, and I believe that this is a similar unit to what they have. So we've seen that it works for what we need.
Great. Like I said, excited to make this happen. Just in time, right?
Yes.
I motion that the chair sign the retail sales agreement with Titan Machinery.
I will second that, and I expect that if we approve this today, my only requirement is that we get an opportunity to see it in action. So, any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, go buy the thing.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, the next three items are related to roofing projects and brought to us by Jason Hauser.
Morning. So I could do all three at one time if you want me to describe them. There's a new roof for the first one is the new roof for the county courthouse for $90,000, a little over $90,000. The second one would be the annex building. I'm sorry, I skipped the first one. The first one is actually the records for $82,000. The second one is the courthouse for $90,000, and then the third one is the complete roof for the annex at $300,000. Combined, they add up to just about a little over $475,000, and the contract is with Chirac for all three.
So this might be a question for David Wall. So does our action today, or I guess how does our action today relate to or not the protest that's been lodged from one of the unsuccessful bidders?
Sure. Well, I was required to send a written response within 30 days of receiving that protest letter. which we received last Monday, the 22nd. But I went ahead and sent that to the gentleman from one of the unsuccessful bidders. I sent that to him yesterday, so that has already been answered. It does state within our purchasing and contracts policy, and I'll just read it right from there. It says the county is not required to delay, halt, or modify the procurement process pending the result of a protest. So we are good to go ahead.
Okay. Very good. And Jason, as far as the roofing option that will be implemented here, what does it look like? Are we talking membrane, some sort of other material? What's being used to, and is it the same or different between the buildings?
All the roofs are slightly different. Records is a combination between a metal roof and a flat roof, and so the metal roof is going to get a different application than the flat roof will be at Records. My understanding, and I was a plumber, not a roofer, so bear with me a little. My understanding is they'll both be very cleaned. All the bolt holes and everything like that on the metal part will be cleaned off, resealed. They'll reseal the whole roof. I think the courthouse and the membrane at Records will both be completely cleaned, patched where need be. Then they put like a polyester membrane down, and then they roll on a coating, which will add about 40 to 50 millimeters of new roofing on top of the existing one that's there. And then the annex, if you've been up there, probably not, but it's got brick on top of the roof. So it's a membrane roof, but the baluster is the brick that holds it down, and it's decaying. So they'll tear all of the brick off of there, the complete membrane, all the way down to the concrete roof that's under, and they'll rebuild that all the way back up to a brand new roof on that one. 80 mil with a 30-year warranty on that one.
Yeah, I guess brick was all the rage in 1967. So
yeah, yeah, it's interesting up there. They're like concrete pavers, probably 18 by 8 pavers, 1.5 inch thick. Looks like a paver up there. So
it's never been re-roofed since. Wow, I didn't realize that.
I don't know that answer either. Yeah, but it's been there it looks like quite a while. Those a significant amount of the pavers are deteriorated down to just basically gravel, and we've had some leaking. I know county attorneys has an existing leak that we've been trying to get by until this new roof comes on. And
so will they have to remove all that
Yep.
decayed material?
Yep, everything will come off of that roof completely. Yeah. So that'll be 100% from insulation up, a new roof.
Huh.
Yeah.
And
all right.
You said 30 years on all 3 of the roofs.
No, 30 year, sorry, 30 year on the annex. The courthouse and Records will both have a 18-year roof or warranty on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So,
I don't have any further questions. I'm a motion to approve items 6, 7, and 8.
Good. I'll second that. Any further discussion or comments from anyone? Well, I'll be glad to see the roof get installed. Seeing no further comment, all in favor? Aye.
thank you, guys. I'm so excited for this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jason, thanks, Mr. Wall, for your work too. All right. Critical Mission Partners. Casey, are you out there?
Yep, you got me.
Yes.
Yeah, so first, apologies. It should be Mission Critical Partners there on the agenda, but it is right in the contract. So,
hey.
And so just to brief, this is a contract to kind of do a gap analysis of kind of our radio infrastructure, and we're also going to be partnering with the city on this project. So you'll have an interlocal coming your way to kind of split the cost of this contract. That $49,000 is the price of the whole contract, so we're expecting to pay half of that for the city share or county share. But yeah, so working with sheriffs, police, and fire to kind of update their radio systems. A lot of believe they're handhelds, and some of their systems are become obsolete and can't find parts or repair stuff for them. So we're just trying to make sure everything is compatible moving forward as they kind of need to purchase new equipment and that stuff. So Chris, do you want to add anything, I guess, to that description?
Just a brief thing, Casey, great job on describing that. So commissioners, this will also, just so you're aware, look at the mountaintops. So it really is a full holistic view of our radio system and what infrastructure needs to be changed out over the next several years to kind of support us going forward. One thing that I'd point out, the city in particular is experiencing is because there continues to be a fair amount of infill into the city, it is more and more difficult to get radio signal to penetrate into the city limits. The county actually has 5 mountaintops around Missoula County, and then there are 2 that are specifically dedicated to the city. And so this study will also look at making sure we have the best coverage using those 7 sites and whether or not we need to add additional sites as that growth continues to happen both outside the city limits and inside the city limits. So.
Is this added to Dude Solutions, or is this?
So our radio infrastructure, this particular piece isn't, but any equipment that would be purchased as part of this, yes, would end up in there if it's county equipment. When we start talking about the mountaintops, I don't believe Dude Solutions and Andrew or Casey or Jason, who are more familiar with that, necessarily goes down to the handheld portable level like that an officer walks around carrying. I think it's more like facility based, but
yeah.
That's correct.
Well, oh, Andrew, go ahead.
I was just going to agree with Chris. That's correct. We don't go into the handheld version.
Well, and we should not rule out the revenue generating potential of at point 6 having a ski hut of some sort that we could lease out to the public. So keep that in mind. Any further discussion or questions? What do you think? Do you want to make a motion, Juanita?
Yeah, motion to approve professional services agreement with Mission Critical Partners.
Not to be confused with Critical Mission Partner.
But it is a critical mission.
It is a critical mission. I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Great.
Casey.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Vaughn.
And Chris, do you want to say a few words about Alex Pittman?
Yeah, you bet. So Alex is a registered dental hygienist over a partnership. This addendum to the contract just increases the number of hours that they're eligible to work. Right now, they are a half-time employee, so working about 20 hours a week. This would bring them up to a 0.8 or just a little over 3/4 time, 32 hours a week. Rates of pay and those kinds of things stay the same. It's just that hours change.
Okay, I motion to approve amendment 2 to the employment agreement between Alex Pittman and PHC.
I will second that. Further discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. So ends our action items. Thank you. Correspondence, we already talked about the thank you letter to Senator Tester. It's more of a communications issue more than correspondence. Do we want to talk just briefly about the possibility of the BCC having an op-ed or opinion piece on the 2021 legislature and our observations or efforts related to such?
Yeah, you bet, commissioners. We're happy to cover this, and then that's a great segue into talking about today's legislative bills. So we've been talking internally, as you know, Missoula County can be a bit of a lightning rod is the term that I will use sometimes at the state when we are there testifying. And so, you know, we've been really successful this semester. Wow, I've turned it into school now. That's how traumatic this is. It's got me all the way back to snow. This session. We have purposely worked in the back hallways a little more than we normally do and been at the podium a little less. And that is because we do tend to draw a fair amount of criticism for just a variety of reasons, including just some folks who just generally don't like Missoula. And so one of the things we've been talking about is perhaps putting together a guest column that might talk about some of the reasons why we have that strategy, but also talk about some of how that strategy has been effective this semester. There I go again, semester, this legislative session, you know, and just talk about, I'm afraid somebody's going to give me a writing assignment. It's not going to be good. So how we've been successful this legislative session. And, you know, so thinking of things like, you know, for example, the leasing bill that the county was successful and modifying, so the counties are no longer restricted to these 10-year leases, which don't allow us to be good partners with the community on really valuable community projects, including things like the YMCA, Trinity, these kinds of other things where we've had to come up with other methods for doing that, the fairgrounds redevelopment, library redevelopment. But then also talking about, we've been really effective in getting some really bad planning bills killed this session. Have we been 100% successful? No, we have not. As you know, the agricultural soils bill is up today for second reading. It's a bad bill, but we've been successful in killing a lot of the other really bad bills, and we've been successful, in the public health world, protecting some of the authority necessary for health boards and for health officers, in order to partner with the board and with the city, and really protecting community safety and welfare. So we were just thinking that something like a letter to a guest column might be appropriate. In this case, to kind of talk about why we've used that strategy, how it's been effective, and also, acknowledging that it's like every strategy, it's not 100% effective. I'm sure that there were folks who would have preferred that we, be at the podium and maybe that would have been as successful. These are the calls we make kind of during the session to try and be as effective and as nimble as we can, given the speed at which it moves. And I'd certainly, if Anne or Emmy or Sarah, all of whom, and Allison, all of whom, of course, meet with me each morning to talk about what are we going to do that day, have thoughts, I'd welcome those, and of course yours as well. So whether that might be a good course.
Well, I would be supportive of us drafting something and getting it into the appropriate media pipelines for publication.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think folks, want to hear from us, and I think this explanation is good while also holding our ground.
So I think the bottom line is we're not, even if some folks may not particularly like our strategy, we have had a strategy here. It's not that we've simply been sitting on our hands idle. Far from it. We've been very active, trying to think strategically about what will actually accomplish the end goal of either supporting or killing certain pieces of legislation, and it's been a mixed bag, as we all know, and we'll continue on. I guess I would just the only caveat I would add is that whatever opinion piece that we put together should still be in keeping with the fact that the legislature is still in session, and we want to continue in what we put out there in print, that print being either physically in print or virtually, for your sake, Martin, that it not be counterproductive to what we're trying to accomplish.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so commissioners, what we kind of envisioned, because we have such excellent writers on the commission, is that the staff might put together a list of kind of the bills that we feel we've been effective on. Again, there are probably people who feel we've not been effective in those spaces, and kind of a rough outline of that, and then with your help, try to draft something that would be kind of in exactly that tone that you just described. So
great.
Okay, well, we'll figure out. Well, since Josh is not here, it seems like he is the appropriate person who should be tasked with such a thing. We'll figure out how to skin that proverbial cat.
Yeah, and of course, obviously, staff is here to help. And it looks like Martin has a question. So,
Martin.
No question. Just want to let you know that Commissioner Slotnick this morning submitted an op-ed at his own behalf regarding what he's referring to as the hypocrisy of the legislature. Just in case you didn't know about that.
Okay, was that just from him or from the full BCC?
No, it was just from him.
Just him.
Okay. Excellent. I look forward to reading that.
Commissioners, I would just add that while we absolutely have strategy as it relates to our presence in Helena and in the Capitol building itself, we also have sent hundreds of messages on, I don't even know how many bills this session, and this makes up also a large part of our approach to informing our delegation about the commission's position, the county's position on hundreds is probably overstating it, but it feels like thousands of bills at this point. So I just wanted to throw that out too, that there are a lot of messages going every day about certain bills, and we're informing our folks of where we are in the process.
I wonder if, and Martin, I don't know if you have this, but we actually have a location that you could access to our website. And what are we calling that? A blog or?
It's just a good old fashioned blog. It's a
dated
system, but we've been using it for probably 8 sessions now, and it's worked pretty well. So.
Okay. Well, folks should be aware of that if they're not already. It's a treasure trove of information about our work during the legislative session.
Okay, so Martin will add a link.
Yeah, I'll look for that, and I didn't know that existed, but I'll see if I can find it and add a link. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Martin.
All right, well, today we only actually have one bill to talk about, and I just wanted to put this one on your guys' radar. It is House Bill 698, and what it does is limit when defendants who are pre-trial, so this is folks who are not yet convicted, so pre-trial, can be charged costs or fees related to electronic monitoring. And so right now, as you all know, we contract with Missoula Correctional Services to help in that pretrial space and to kind of run our pretrial program. And they do charge folks to be in that program under certain conditions. They have a sliding fee scale that can be all the way from the person paying $0 to them paying the full cost, depending on their ability to pay. And also depending on what the court orders related to those fees. And so this bill would basically shift those costs for anyone who is assigned a public defender 100% to local governments to fund, as it does not include a funding mechanism in it. So the assumption is that those costs would come to Missoula County. On the one hand, on a criminal justice reform stand, right, generally we would be supportive of things that reduce the likelihood that somebody is going to be in jail waiting for trial, assuming they're nonviolent and right, it's appropriate for them to be released for the electronic monitoring. For the other, obviously, on the other hand, there is obviously a fiscal impact to the county. So we did do some quick numbers just to get a rough estimate. This would cost Missoula County between, and this is a wide range, and that's because the number of people can fluctuate very dramatically throughout the course of the year. It would cost anywhere from about $50,000 a year for Missoula County to absorb those costs up to a high of about $100,000 a year, assuming that every day we were kind of at maximum capacity. So there's a wide variety of costs in there. And so if we wanted to weigh in on this, I just want to make sure that we're applying the appropriate lens to that and not over highlighting one. We'd obviously include both of those pieces of information, but we're just not sure where the commission would fall on whether this would be something generally we would support or stay neutral on. So
if Chris, funding was not an issue, would this, it seems like a reasonable approach policy wise. Is it too much to ask that we would could we just state that from a criminal justice standpoint, this may make sense, but it's an unfunded mandate, and if the state of Montana would pick up the tab, that would be our preference.
Yeah, we absolutely can include that in our message. I just wanted to make sure that was kind of in line with what you all would think about that, is that we'd highlight the costs and say, we believe that if the state would like to see these changes, it would be appropriate for them to come join us in partnership in funding some of those, because we already do fund. We help fund that sliding fee scale as part of our contract with Missoula Correctional Services. But to take it all the way down to zero would be that additional cost. And it would be appropriate for the state to partner with us in helping to fund that, in my opinion. So
what are law enforcement and the judicial system like? How are they responding, or what are
so we reached out to Justice Court, which obviously has the exact same concerns that you have. So the justice of the peace from a policy standpoint believe this would be great. It's a tool they believe in strongly and use to help reduce the number of people who are in jail. But again, they are looking at it as this is another cost, and the county already contributes significantly to already have that sliding fee scale happen. And it seems unfortunate for the state to ask us to fund that in its entirety, since really, again, the courts are acting on the state's behalf in these criminal matters. They're not really, I mean, obviously it has a direct benefit to our citizens and their safety and protection, but they are actually a function of the state that we're hosting, especially when we talk about district court, not so much justice court, which is a county function, but we also cover the cost for district court folks who are assigned to this as part of our requirement there. And so that's where we would be looking for them to be better partners. So is in helping to fund that piece. So
do other folks out there have any thoughts on the matter? Okay, seeing none. Juanita, are you okay with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris, for or team for crafting that response.
They do an amazing job of taking the stuff that I babble, as you've heard. I've referred to the legislature as school 3 times in that meeting. They do an amazing job of taking my babbling and turning it into coherent things. They're very impressive. And I will say that we could not do it without the incredible efforts that Emmy and Sarah and Allison and others put every day into crafting those messages, because they do a great job. So
yes, thank you.
Thank you all for being so crafty. And good, yeah.
Adrian,
the semester could not end quickly enough.
It cannot. It really can't.
Adrian, are you out there?
I don't think she was able to join today.
Okay. Anything that you have to share COVID-19 wise, or anyone else? Chris?
I don't have anything. I don't know if I know Allison's and others have been super busy with helping to get the messaging out around vaccinations and everything that's going on. I don't know if they have anything to share. I know they've been, like I said, doing an incredible job with a major lift here as we've switched to community-wide vaccination. So
I just saw that stat. We're at 22% of the counties vaccinated, on our way to 75. That's right. We're doing great. I wish we had a darker color, like you looking at the New York Times county vaccination chart. It doesn't make us look as strong as that, but
I know, but I mean, what is amazing to me about all that, besides the communication and the coordination, the great job the health department and the vaccination coordination team is doing. If you think about this, we've gotten to 22%. We started off at 1,500 doses a week.
I know. Amazing.
In a population of an estimate of about 90,000 people who are eligible. So it's amazing that we are already at 22%, in my opinion.
Yeah, well done.
And that
Sorry,
Ann. Yeah, great partnership from Partnership, All Nations, the City County Health Department, the university, the hospitals, medical providers. I mean, we could do none of it without all of them at the table. They have been an amazing group to work with. So,
Ann, anything you want to add?
You're here. Everything Chris just said, I couldn't agree more. I think it's great that we're at the number that we're at and we're climbing. So it's exciting.
That's great. No,
gotta beat those variants.
Good work, everyone. What else? Anything else to discuss today?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, seeing none, everyone have a great day. Enjoy what looks like a sunny day. So take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.